The socialist armor is finally cracking under the immense weight of Joe Biden's incompetence and clearly senile behavior as president of the United States and his growing inability to lead or even respond to the critical issues facing the country right now. Right now. His polling numbers are falling at a regular pace to a place we've never seen it in America. Just today, Rasmussen has him 24 points underwater. 24 points. Only 37% approve of his performance in office. A whopping eye-popping 61% rejecting his leadership across the board. Those drops in support are being driven by voters that once were considered hardcore Democrat supporters, but they're feeling the sinking ship known as the Biden administration right now. Even CNN is doing it. Listen to this. Honestly, coming from CNN, it's stunning. Stunning. Listen.
Even the economy, to some extent, you've heard Biden say this is Putin's fault. I think that excuse is sort of wearing thin with people across the board. There is this sense that he's not quite getting where he needs to go.
Now, look, that was extremely light criticism of the president, but hey, it is criticism, which doesn't bode well for the sinking Biden administration at all, because this is a midterm election year, as you know. The media should be circling the wagons for the Democrats and their president, but so far, they're not doing that. Even those professionally trained lying lapdogs can't go that far. Sure, they're protecting him in their own way, but they have absolutely no accomplishments from this administration to point to. They've got nothing. They can't even lie. It's honestly just that bad. And you've got to see this. It is long, but it is worth it. Here's Bloomberg going after Biden's economic advisor, Heather Bushey, for the administration's messaging on gas prices. Listen to this exchange.
I keep hearing that word fair, and you and I have had this conversation before. It sometimes makes it sound like something nefarious is happening in certain places. The president over the weekend said this: "My message to the companies running gas stations and setting prices at the pump is simple. This is a time of war and global peril. Bring down the price you are charging at the pump to reflect the cost you're paying for the product, and do it now." Jeff Bezos came out and tweeted the following. I'm sure you read it. "Inflation is far too important a problem for the White House to keep making statements like this. It's either straight ahead misdirection or a deep misunderstanding of basic market dynamics. I'm not going to accuse you of the latter. I want to talk about the former." Where's that messaging coming from?
The president has made clear that his number one goal is delivering for the American people. We are in a time of crisis. We are in a time of war where the president and our allies, we are supporting the Ukrainian people. Congress is engaged in this effort, both sides of the aisle, to say this is an important priority. And one of the consequences is this high price of oil because of global trends.
You didn't answer his important question. Everyone, Heather, everyone in the nation wants to know the answer to the question Mr. Farrell just asked you, which is who is advising the president on shockingly naive price theory over a gallon of gas?
So the president is not shockingly naive.
Yikes, shockingly naive. Well, most of America thinks he is. And do you remember a time, honestly, when the media actually challenged Democrats like that? Wow. I mean, just hitting hard. Hell, even Democrat politicians won't get behind the president. When Joe Biden went to Ohio to discuss the economy a couple of days ago, not a single high-profile Democrat in the entire state could be lured into attending. Not one. They want to be as far away from this guy as possible. He is the most politically toxic president in 150 years. You're hearing more and more Democrats across the nation taking the chance to openly criticize the ongoing failures at every turn of Joe Biden's dysfunctional White House and administration. They know there is not a single thing to point to in an effort to defend what has happened to this country in just 18 months. But senile Joe, he doesn't get it. He has no clue, none, how badly the country looks at him as a whole right now. He is kept away from reporters and insulated from ever getting cornered by real questions on the biggest issues facing Americans, like the economy, energy, the exploding border crisis. Instead, the White House parades out anyone else they can find to gaslight the American people and the world. But nobody's buying it anymore. Lifelong Democrat voters and independent voters alike that have been voting blue are trading that all in the most complete rejection of socialism and central planning policies I've ever seen. This will set back the efforts of the far-left radicals maybe for a couple of generations, maybe forever, if we're really fortunate, so that our grandkids will never have to be burdened with the Marxist garbage and all the equity it delivers. And it's all because of President Biden and his outright refusal to help the American people. Remember when he said this while speaking about high gas prices? Listen.
And when it comes to the gas prices, we're going through an incredible transition that is taking place that, God willing, when it's over, we'll be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when this is over.
So he is openly admitting to you, to me, to everybody, to the American people, you need to just suffer and shut up so we can end our reliance on fossil fuels, even though it's just not scientifically or economically feasible right now. They just don't know what they're doing, or they do, and they don't care. Meanwhile, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm also said that it's important to push forward with this green energy initiative, even though gas prices are high. Listen.
And the Biden administration has been thinking boldly as well about this. I want to share a little bit about what we are doing. The agenda for climate is facing headwinds, given what we are seeing right now with respect to oil, the crimp in oil supply and the price of gas. Obviously, that is a challenge when we are also trying to accelerate this movement toward clean, but it has never been more essential, obviously, to the U.S.'s, to the world's long-term health than to address the issue of climate change and decarbonizing than ever before. So
she's basically saying there that even though gas prices are high, really high, we're not going to produce any more oil, because we're moving toward this green energy, regardless of the risks. And do you know why she called high gas prices a challenge? Not because it hurts your pocketbook, but because it hurts their push to green energy in the public eye. That's it. It's all about optics. It also hurts the ultimate goal, which is, of course, nationalizing the energy sector in America. Trust me, that's it. Because remember, all of these economic consequences that you're facing, these people in Washington are not, at least not yet. They are shielded from all of it. These people don't even shop for their own groceries ever. They brag about buying $70,000 electric cars so they don't need to pay for gas. They're absolutely oblivious to the economic pain the average American is feeling right now today. And that's why you get statements like this one from the White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Here she is.
Do you think it's possible that your plan just is not popular with the American people right now?
I don't think it's that our plan is not popular with the American people. We know that the American people are feeling the high cost. We understand what they are feeling because when you look at inflation, when we look at where we are economically, and we are in a we are stronger economically than we have been in history. When you look at the unemployment numbers at 3.6%, when you look at the jobs numbers, more than 8.7 million of new jobs created, that is important. But we understand that gas prices are high, and we understand that food costs are high, and that is because of a once in a generation pandemic and also Putin's war, and that's just the facts.
So if you think that
it's not that our plan's unpopular, people actually love it. They're lying to the pollsters, and that's why Joe Biden's mired in 30% support range. No other reason. How can anyone in Washington stand up with a straight face and say anything close to the things like I just heard? Strongest economy in history. They actually must think Americans are the dumbest people on the planet.